Hey guys, Brian here from Vintage Classic Specialist. Happy Wednesday, everyone. Hump day. It is time for another episode of Day in the Life of Vintage Classic Specialist. So let me start off with the obvious thing here is the freshly painted, like literally this morning, 72 Ghia that we've been doing body work on for the last couple months or so. This car was pretty bad, guys. So obviously, still got a little bit of painting to do, but the whole outside of the car is done. And, we still got to spray some more coats in here and clear coat in here. I think even in the inside, he's got a little bit more painting to do. And let's see, I think the engine compartment looks like it's done. So yeah, I think a little bit inside and a little bit in the front engine compartment. And then I don't think he's painted the doors yet and stuff like that. But I mean, obviously the main body is done. Of course, we'll color sand it and stuff after it dries for a while. But yeah, there you go, guys. So another great Volkswagen / Karmann Ghia color. So this one is, as you can see, is not nearly as loud as the Signal Orange. This one is called Blood Orange, which is kind of a bitchin' name, actually, Blood Orange. And yeah, it is, to me, it's a good name for it. It's like orange, but with more red in it. I guess that's what makes it Blood Orange. And yeah, so this car, just talk briefly about some of the stuff we took care of on here. One is this back fender right here was basically tore. There was probably like a maybe 8-inch tear all the way from the bottom of the fender up to about in here somewhere. And this car had been hit in the back at least once, maybe multiple times. I don't know, guys. And when the car came in, if you would like grab this back fender, the back of the car, and lift, that big split there would kind of open up. But also what you'd see was this seam right here would basically like move all over the place. And so I don't know if it happened during one of the accidents or what, but there are supposed to be spot welds between this piece of metal and this piece of metal here. And those were basically just all like busted or whatever. And so this is actually like a structural area here that kind of ties the body together in this area. And so, yeah, Rene, of course, went and welded those two together from inside the car, from back in there. Took care of that. Obviously welded this big slit in it closed. And then, yeah, the fenders, they didn't look too bad, but when you started looking with a fine-tooth comb, their shapes were all off. They had tons of Bondo on them. The shape of these areas here where the taillight housings go was like all off, where if you put the taillight housings on them, there'd be big gaps all over the place. And that was true on both sides. Lots of like wrinkles and stuff in here from prior accident damage. Just like Bondo all over this car. The nose, I think, had been pushed in like most of them. This car didn't have a lot of rust, like compared to the green one over there or the other 68 that's right behind this one in terms of body work, metal work, and paint. Yeah, a little bit of metal up underneath here, I think, got replaced, and some other little areas here and there. But yeah, overall, it wasn't a really rusty car, but it had just like little accident and fender like fender bender damage like everywhere, guys. And the car, whoever had worked on it and painted it before did a pretty decent job of like bondoing over all this accident damage. And so, you never really know what you got on these cars until you start taking them down to bare metal, which is what we do. And then, yeah, you can't hide anything at that point. So yeah, lots of Bondo. And so yeah, we do our best to, metal work that out to the extent that you can. And then just a thin skim coat of filler to kind of even things out. And that's it. So very little body filler on this car, just very thin layers here and there to, dial in the curves and stuff like that. Anyway, guys, yeah, so there you go. So this car, we're not we're not doing a full restoration on. The owner really wants to do a lot of this himself. So I think the main things we're doing, obviously paint and body. I think he's wanting us to wire it. I believe he's wanting us to do the full interior, the full upholstery. And then I think he wants to do like the mechanical stuff and stuff himself. So yeah, this car probably won't be here. It definitely won't be here as long as the full restoration, because again, we're doing kind of limited work on it. And then unless he decides to have us keep going, I don't know, we'll see. But yeah, at least at the moment, the plan is basically obviously finish the paint and you know, hang the doors and lids and stuff like that, wire it, and do the upholstery. And then I think from there, we're going to kind of see what he wants to tackle himself versus have us do it. So yeah, we'll see. Anyway, so got to give a shout out to our paint and body magician, Rene, first and foremost, for doing an amazing job. Again, this car, guys, was pretty bad. Again, not in the sense of like a rust bucket like this poor guy over here was, but just dents and dings and wrinkles like everywhere on this car. And then, yeah, because of the heat we're having, so if you're in Southern California, actually, I think most of the country is having like heat waves right now. Oh, look at that, guys. It's like 98 in here right now in the shop. Yeah, because it's been so hot, you know, you don't really want to paint when it's super hot. And again, it's been humid for here, for us locally. And so Rene, the other part of the shout out I wanted to give him is he came in at like 6 a.m. this morning when it was still relatively cooler out, and got to work, started, you know, spraying this car and stuff while it was still relatively early, relatively cool. And yeah, so huge thanks to him for basically killing it here on this thing. So anyway, that was Renee's day. All right, so let's talk about other folks' days here. So Rafa continued working on the other Orange Ghia. Again, this is Signal Orange, which I think Volkswagen also called it Amber, I think, which to me, I would never think of this color as amber, but okay. Anyway, we'll call it Signal Orange, more fitting. That's what Porsche calls it. Anyway, so yeah, Rafa, I think finished installing the turn indicators. I think before they were just kind of sitting there. He had to acquire the special screws for them. And then he did restore and install the trim on this whole side here, the bottom one that goes up to about there, and then the other one that goes all the way along here back down to the front there with its seal and stuff. So yeah, guys, this trim on these things, I think I mentioned it probably several times, huge pain in the ass. I mean, just installing this stuff here, well, including kind of like restoring it, cleaning it up and stuff, straightening it out, it's like a half a day just to pretty much do that. But that's Ghias for you guys. They're gorgeous. We love them. So, yeah, I think those are kind of the main things that he did on this one today. There's probably some other odds and ends, but that's kind of the major thing, is getting that other part of the window together today, and a few other things that are slipping my mind. Okay, so how about my day? Started the day off with chasing a couple oil leaks on the red 57 Beetle, which you see is no longer here. I think having driven it and cycled the motor and the oil obviously through heat a few times, is some of the hose clamps were a little bit loose after, again, kind of heat cycling it, and it actually developed a few oil leaks this morning. And luckily, it was just a matter of going and retightening those clamps. I think when you assemble hose clamps on, you know, room temperature oil hose, the hose is relatively stiff. And then I think you heat cycle it a couple times, and the hose kind of softens up and relaxes a bit, and the clamps end up not really as tight as they need to be. So yeah, I pretty much just went and tightened those up, and that took care of it. An owner came and got it and drove it home. I haven't heard anything, so I'm assuming that went well. So yeah, that one is gone. And next to leave will be the Baja Bug. Just need to put some more miles on it, so probably the next day or so. So that was chunk of my morning, and then turn my attention back to Big Blue here, trying to keep my momentum on this, and I'm gonna try and keeping my momentum on this. So one of the major things I did today is install the gas tank, which on a bus it's kind of like a big project. Actually, it's much harder than on a Beetle. But let me show you. So I'll remove that and I'll show you the tank. But since I had this mocked up, I wanted to show you that first. So on these buses, there's a cover that separates the gas tank area from the engine compartment. And so we dug that out, and Rene did a little, hammer and dolly work on it. It was a little bit mangled. And then I did have to do a little clearancing on it. You can see right there for one of the air conditioner lines. Other than that, yeah, it fits very nice in there. And so normally it's a gray color. You can actually see some of it there. I think we're going to, since this bus is somewhat semi-custom, the motor especially, I think we're going to powder coat this in black, like semi-gloss black, because I think that is going to be a better backdrop for the motor. If you recall the motor for this one, which I had for mock-up purposes in there, now it's out. But yeah, the motor, the tin on it is like a hammer tone, kind of dark gray. So I think a black backdrop is going to look much better behind this motor, especially with all the black on the motor. It's going to look amazing. More so than like the stock gray for that behind this gray. That would just, not work. So yeah, anyway, that thing is now ready to go to powder coating now that I've test fitted and done a little trimming. So let me yank that out, and then we'll talk about the gas tank for a sec. Okie doke, that's out. So yeah, I mean, not super exciting, but it is actually kind of a big deal, I guess. Gas tank is in. Bought a new fuel sender for it, needless to say. On the bottom here is the adapter, which adapts to there's basically a T. So since this car is fuel injected, if you're not familiar with how fuel systems work, there's an outlet from the tank which runs to the throttle body in this case, and then the fuel that doesn't get used returns back in a loop, and so that's the other side of the T. So basically you've got a loop of fuel kind of coming from and to the motor, and then of course there's a fuel pump that goes in there. So out of the tank, through the fuel pump to the throttle body in this case, which has the injectors in it, and then after the throttle body back to the other side of the T. So yeah, not super complicated, but I do have a external fuel pump, which I need to figure out where it's going to go. I'm mounted up underneath here somewhere, and then plumb all that in. But yeah, gas tank's in with the straps and those little hairy fiber pads and stuff. And then this tube here is a gas tank breather, which I had to mangle a little bit to get it in there to clear that cover that goes there. But yeah, that's all in. And so there's the wires, the ground for the gas tank, which I still need to connect to the body. And then that is the signal wire right there for the fuel gauge. So yeah, got that in, and also ran the new throttle cable, which is longer than stock, and then it runs through this sleeve, which in turn, I can get this out of here, goes pretty much up to a bracket on the throttle body. So it'll kind of sit over here, something like that, and obviously actuate the throttle body. So that's in. And yeah, so guys, just kind of again chipping away here at this thing. I've got to do a little bit more brake line work up here, and let's see what else. I put in the front engine to body seal. The side and back ones, I'll probably do it correctly, which on a bus most people put in the sides and then trim it, and then they have a separate piece that they would put in on the apron itself. The correct way, the way these buses came from Volkswagen, is this engine to body seal is a continuous piece. So you basically put it into the apron, and then you've got like a tail hanging off here, a tail hanging off here, and then as you put the apron in, you feed those into their respective channels. So Definitely a much harder way to put one in, but it's correct and it looks much cleaner because then you don't have this sort of like cuts in the seal, you know, there and there basically. So yeah, that's my plan. Let's go ahead and do it the correct way. Looks cleanest, looks best. And but yeah, that's pretty much what I did today on this one. Real quick, back to the motor. I did pull off the throttle body and took it to AJ for like a final, he has to etch, he always etches like a serial number on him and some information like that. So if it ever, you know, comes back to him or whatever, he can easily look it up and get the information on the program that it's got, stuff like that. So he's got the throttle body now. And then when it comes back, I have to reinstall it, which is a bit of a pain because the way that I route all the cables and stuff on it, they all route through some very tight spaces under there. So I pretty much have to unbolt the alternator and the fan shroud and then lift that assembly up. And then that'll allow me to route the various cables and sensor wires and stuff underneath the alternator and then put everything back together. So yeah, that'll probably happen in the next day or so. And then, yeah, still need to do some more work on the air conditioning hoses up underneath the car and ultimately connect them up front. But yeah, like I said, guys, chipping away at this, at Big Blue here. So anyway, that is it for today, guys. I'm going to close up shop and go home before I die of a heat stroke. So thank you all very much for watching, and we will see you again soon. Bye.